Donald Trump. As you may know, he continues to lead the GOP presidential field by a significant margin in all the national polls, causing consternation among some Republicans. Mr. Trump will be protesting against the Iran nuke deal tomorrow in Washington, and he joins us now from his headquarters here in New York City. We'll get to the nuke deal in a moment, but first, I want to know what you think about this migrant crisis in Europe. 800,000, it looked like, will have to be settled in Germany alone. What do you think started that?
Well, it's a serious problem. We haven't seen anything like it since the Second World War, and it's getting worse and worse. And I was actually impressed in one way, but surprised that Merkel in Germany allowed this to happen, because they're really flowing through all over Europe. And if you notice, Russia's not taking, and China's not taking, and the Gulf states, whether you look at Saudi Arabia or Qatar or any of them, they're taking none. But some of them are, and some of them are actually being very generous. It just really, I wonder, where all these people are coming from exactly, and what are they representing? Because do you have people from ISIS in that group? There's a lot of security risk with it. But something has to be done. It's an unbelievable humanitarian problem.
Israel's not taking any. Britain's taking a few, maybe 5,000. Thousands will come to the United States of migrants. Now, do you object to migrants who are getting out of the Middle East and North Africa? Do you object to them coming to the USA?
I hate the concept of it, but on a humanitarian basis with what's happening, you have to. This was started by President Obama when he didn't go in and do the job when he should have, when he drew the line in the sand, which turned out to be a very artificial line. But, it's living in hell in Syria. There's no question about it. They're living in hell.
So you would have intervened.
Something has to be done.
Had you been a president, you would have intervened in Syria? You would have removed Assad as the president of that country?
Well, Obama said he was going to do that, and the problem you have is that Russia is on his side, Iran is on his side, and lots of other things can happen.
What would you have done? Would you have
been very strong
after the gas? After the gas,
the amazing thing, after the gas, something should have happened, because
what?
when they
what
use
would you
gas,
have done? What in hindsight?
Well, probably in retrospect, they should have gone in and they should have done something with Assad. But, Assad is not our biggest problem, because Assad and ISIS are actually fighting.
Yes.
So now what we're doing is we're fighting ISIS, and ISIS wants to fight Assad. And some people could say, why don't you just let them fight out and you take off the remnants? We're stopping. Assad has to say, these people are the nicest people on earth. They're fighting my enemy. But Assad has the benefit of having Russia and having Iran protecting him.
But now you're going to have millions, literally. Now that all of these migrants are going to Europe and being accepted, millions more will come. And I think that catastrophe is going to play out over the next 6 months. All right, let's go back to the United States.
Europe is becoming a much different place. Bill, I have to say, Europe is becoming a much different place. I was in Paris, and Paris doesn't look like Paris anymore. You look at what's going on with some of the major cities and some of the major countries in Europe, and even before this, it's a much different place. And I'm not sure that's what they want. But on a humanitarian basis, something does have to be done.
Back in the United States, Kim Davis released she wouldn't give up gay marriage license. What is your advice to Ms. Davis? Should she have issued the license?
Well, she was released, and that was good, and it was too bad that she had to be put in jail. And I'm a very, very strong believer in Christianity and religion, but I will say that this was not the right job for her, because we had a ruling from the Supreme Court, and we are a country of laws, and you have to do what the Supreme Court ultimately, whether you like the decision or not, and it was a 5-4 decision, whether you like the decision or not, you have to go along with the Supreme Court.
All right, so you would have said issue the license or take what comes. Black Lives Matter. What do you think Black Lives Matter is after?
Well, I think it's very simple. All lives matter, whether it's black or white, and how they're getting away with this murder.
What does that group want?
I think they're trouble. I think they're looking for trouble. I looked at a couple of the people that were interviewed from the group. I saw them with hate coming down the street last week, talking about cops and police and what should be done to them, and that was not good. And I think it's a disgrace that they're getting away with it. I think it's disgraceful the way they're being catered to by the Democrats, and it's going to end up kicking them where. I don't think it's going to end up good. The fact is, all lives matter. That includes black, and it includes white, and it includes everybody else. And we have people, Democrats, that are afraid to even say that. They're apologizing because they say white lives matter and all lives matter.
All right.
These are people that are unfit to run for office, in my opinion.
It's not just Democrats. Let's roll the tape. I want you to react to this. Go.
The Black Lives Matter, that's a way of capturing the essence of this problem we have, where blacks have been killed by police officers in a way that doesn't seem appropriate. Not that killing is appropriate in any circumstance. And so I don't mind the slogan and I don't mind the movement because it draws attention to the problem.
So General Powell, a Republican, he's supporting Black Lives Matter, and you say?
He's wrong. He's totally wrong. It's all lives matter, and that should be the theme of this country, frankly, one of our themes. All lives matter. So he's obviously catering to somebody. I don't know who he's catering to. I looked at the head. I was watching the head of Black Lives Matter being interviewed the other night, and I said to myself, give me a break. All lives matter.
All right. If all lives matter, then why do you support Planned Parenthood and not cutting off the funding, since they're the top abortion provider, and now we know they're engaged in selling the parts of dead babies, and you don't want to cut off their funding? So
well,
if all lives matter,
right. I'm not supporting Planned Parenthood. Somebody said I was supporting Planned. I'm not supporting.
Would you cut off funding to Planned Parenthood?
Yes, I would. I don't know where you got this information. I never said that.
That was the
I'm
report.
Against Planned Parenthood. Totally against. Well, because you read a wrong report, Bill. You have bad researchers. What can I tell you?
No.
I'm against
it. was an erroneous report. But that
okay,
was
good.
the report. But we'll take care of the people who did that.
It's wrong.
So go ahead. Just state it. State it.
No, I mean, a lot of people say it's an abortion clinic. I'm opposed to that. And I wouldn't do any funding as long as they're performing abortions. And they are performing abortions. So I would be opposed to funding. I would be totally opposed to funding.
Okay. Tomorrow you're going to go down to D.C. You're going to be in this anti-nuke Iranian rally. But as you know, 41 Democratic senators say they will support the treaty. Therefore, it's blocked for a vote in the Senate, and it becomes not law because it's not that way, but the treaty will then go into effect, or the deal. Some say it isn't a treaty. The deal will be made. So why are you going down to Washington if it's a fait accompli?
Well, it's a protest. It's one of the most incompetent contracts. Forget about deals from any standpoint, whether you look at real estate, whether you look at war, whether it's one of the most incompetently drawn contracts I've ever seen. We could have had a much better deal. We could have had a much stronger deal. We should have doubled up the sanctions, negotiated for strength. We don't get anything. We're getting nothing from this deal. And then you look at certain countries who are opposed to it. Now, all of a sudden, out of the blue, they come. As an example, Saudi Arabia, they came back. Well, what are they getting? You know what we're giving them in terms of guarantees and weapons and money, probably? It's absolutely a disgraceful
It's a bad deal. There's no question about it.
It's an embarrassment to our country, and there's no way. Even, look, it's not the most important thing, but it's very important. Our prisoners should have been released before we even started talking to these people.
Okay, but all of our allies, so-called European allies, who didn't step up in Syria, didn't want to do anything there, now they're getting what they deserve because they are too afraid to do anything. They're in favor of the Iran nuke deal. You're talking Germany, you're talking Britain, you're talking France. Yeah. See, your strategy seems to me is we'd go it alone because you wouldn't be able to rally anybody against Iran in this situation. Or am I wrong?
Well, look, you could have, if we had the right leader, those countries, Russia's going to make a fortune. They're already making deals to send massive missiles all over Iran, and other countries are making a lot. You know, we're the only country, we get nothing out of this deal. We get absolutely nothing. They're going to spend $150 billion that we're giving them like a payment to make a deal that's bad. They're going to spend $150 billion on terror all over the Middle East, probably all over the world. This deal is incomprehensible. It should have never been made. And now the problem is, Bill, you'll never put that group together in terms of sanctions because they're all out taking advantage of Iran.
Right.
And it's a big problem.
So you're going to protest tomorrow and just let everybody know how you feel, right?
If I win, I will tell you something. A lot of different things will be happening in this country. You won't see deals like that. Even that deal, I'll make it much, much better. I will renegotiate that deal, and I will make it, and that's what I do That's what I do in life.
All right.
I will make that deal much better for this country. That deal is a disgrace. It should have never been allowed. And how Obama got away with it is beyond anybody's comprehension.
All right, Donald. As always, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you.